unemployment rate is up nationally.
This week, Warner Brothers announced that Tim Burton will return to direct the much-anticipated sequel to Batman. Movie incarnations of superheroes have often caused controversy, like the uproar created when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman. For 60 years, the panels of comic books have captured the imagination and loyalty of their readers, and it's a medium that some argue is best left to the page. The daily responsibility of plotting the adventures of superheroes is left to the likes of DC and Marvel Comics.
If you take the cliche of Superman, they fight for truth, justice, and the American way. That says it pretty well. They're all heroic. They'll go to any lengths to stop crime. They have humanity about them.
Created as a diversion from the Depression, comics moved early from escapism to reflecting social issues. While the job of crime fighting has gone through some changes, the basic formula for a superhero has remained the same.
You become a superhero perhaps by being a mutant. A mutant means there's an immediate step in evolution. So a human being is born with the ability to run very fast, or to think very well, or to be able to defy gravity. He has mutant powers.
Powers and abilities are guided by the mere mortals at DC and Marvel. While the exploits and adventures are created in the privacy of the writers' homes, the characters soar to life in the art departments.
We're standing in the Marvel bullpen, and the people behind me are doing paste up, layout, coloring, lettering, that sort of thing. What we have here is a few original pages. These are what inks look like. All this artwork is original. It's one of a kind, and as per Marvel's policy, we return this to the artist. A lot of these pages can go for anywhere from $100 to $500, $600 in the original art market. You know, you show up at a convention, you can buy it from the artist. This is what the coloring looks like. Just a colored Xerox. Again, these are one of a kind. These are our guides, the separators.
In typical publishing fashion, the editors oversee various stages of the operation, from conferring with the writers to supervising the artwork.
Basically, we should be able to follow the story through the artwork without the words. I mean, the words are put in to enhance it, of course, but we should be able to follow it without the words even, just to see their storytelling.
I gave those guys a lens.
We take stories from the Bible. We take stories from mythology. Sometimes they just come to you in the middle of the night or when you're walking down to the subway. It's not a process that I care to investigate too closely, because you just never know where a story idea will come from. Then once you have the idea, it becomes a matter of craft. To some degree, something you can learn to do. You can learn to construct a plot. You can learn to create suspense. Though when you're really cooking, when it's really going well, you forget that you know any of that, and it just comes out. That's when doing this work is a joy.
Well, this is a non-powered Spider-Man issue.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
What?
He doesn't have his powers in this one.
While such stalwarts as Batman and Superman enjoy a loyal readership, their popularity is waning. In order to compete in the market, changes have included a new Robin, as well as Superman's engagement to Lois Lane. It's all in an effort to steer away from a new trend that's gaining popularity: vigilantism and violence.
We do have a Comics Code Authority, which does contain certain, I guess, laws that we try to follow, or rules and regulations about how much can be shown, what kind of violence. We like to think of what we do, in most of the books anyway, certain exceptions there, but in most of the books there's action. Somebody can get thrown against a wall, and the wall will explode in a million pieces, and the character will go flying through the wall, and he may get up with just some dust on him or something like that, a little trickle of blood from the lip, but it won't be any of the horrendous or horrible things that would really happen if you got thrown against a wall. It's still supposed to be action as opposed to violence.
Right now, the Punisher is tremendously popular with the public. You know, here's a character that doesn't abide by the law. He will bend and break the law to catch the wrongdoers and punish them. And the Punisher could, and in fact has gone to jail. He's not, nor is Marvel, advocating that anyone pursue this type of behavior. He embraces it because he's got nothing left to lose.
Superman has never been that way, and couldn't be that way. If he was, he wouldn't be Superman anymore. Myself and the 10 or 12 guys that work on the 3 titles we have are very sensitive to keeping true to what the character was made of originally, and has basically kept through the 52 years he's been around.
While superhero properties keep Hollywood scriptwriters busy, there's no pressure from the comic book fans. In fact, it can be argued that the superhero's greatest contribution to his fans is the fight against illiteracy.
As a kid in St. Louis, Batman was one of my favorites. I was a big comic book fan when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Then I completely lost touch with comics until I was in my mid-20s. So there was like a 12-year period in there when I virtually forgot they existed. But I suspect that I learned to read from comics. I know that I found comic books a hell of a lot more interesting to read than the stuff I was getting at school.
Our reading level is about 10th or 11th grade level. New York Times is written at an 8th grade level. Most newspapers are written at a 4th to 6th grade level. In a nation which, you know, our literacy rate is surprisingly low, I think comics help pull the bottom up.
DC and Marvel Comics have recently joined an organization called Operation Comics Shield. Together with retailers and other publishers, over 200,000 comic books have been sent to Allied forces in the Gulf. However, due to Arab customs, the pulp superheroes will be restricted to offshore naval ships.